Hi, everybody. Russ from the WESTHAM Network. I didn't beat myself. Congratulations. Well done to me. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new, Andy, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe, all that good stuff. And it's the Matchday Debrief. Bit of a rush show. I'm really sorry. It was, Stell was going to do it, and Stell got into a meeting, so I jumped on. So I do apologise for sort of I usually do it I usually put that notification about 9 o'clock, 9:30s, but anyway. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're all safe and well. Fantastic result, or fantastic result in terms of we win. I don't think the performance was great. Was as maybe as comprehensive as we thought. Maybe as comprehensive ourselves as Matt Jarvis, who was on the show yesterday doing the Matchday lunchtime show. Not doing it, but he turned up. Bless him, for a little bit in his lovely orange chair. Let's see what we've got in the chat so far. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about Davy Moyes' post-match press conference, talk about the interview, take some of the key things he said, go for some player ratings as well. Russie's harsh ratings. I think I've loosened up a little bit softer than I was for the Leeds game. Let's just say that. Good afternoon, Father Snowman. Hope you're well. John, hope you're well. Points over performance all day long. Indeed, points over games in hand as well. Yes, Arsenal got a game in hand on us, but I'd rather have the points, particularly at the moment with, obviously, the sort of news broke yesterday, sort of lunchtime-ish, roughly, that Souček had an illness. We assume it was COVID, and that could happen. Arsenal could be playing a game and they get 3 or 4 of their main team out, and that's what I mean. I'd rather get the points because you never know. And also good for the old goal difference as well for us. Morning, Ludders. Hope you're well, my friend. John, hope you're well. Gaza, hope you're well. Frano, hope you're well. Yep. Bowen'S on fire. He certainly is, that man again. Stuart, good afternoon to you. Hope you're well. Grant, hope you're well. Thanks for double bubble. Always double bubble. We try and get it in now. We do try and get it in. Loads. I mean, I've been trying to get in for ages, but we've just sort of squashed everything a bit more to get that double bubble in. And had some lovely messages from people on Twitter, on Instagram, on here as well, Facebook. So we are trying to keep this double bubble going. Sounds like you get the pie and mash shop. Pete, good afternoon to you. I see West Ham put a valuation of 20 million. Indeed. Amazing. Buzzing since yesterday. Indeed. Right, let's talk about the big man himself, Moyes. What did he say? What did Moyes say? Shall we do picture in picture? Let's do that. Hello. So reaction to the win. Let me take it off the logo as well. Reaction to the win. Moyes was asked. Very professional performance, which I think we all agree. It was a professional performance. It wasn't the swashbuckling performance we thought it was. Maybe the swashbuckling, when we saw the team, I thought it would be, but no, it just didn't work out. The game was tight, and they are tight, and we probably had opportunities to score at different times in the game. We could have made it a bit easier, but I think we deserved the victory. I think it was the right result in the end, and after a game which I really didn't see being the right direction that this game was pushed in, where it was. No, yeah, I know what he means, but we were forced into playing it, and thankfully we got it done and got it out of the way. So obviously he sat his team thinking it was going to be a lot more open, but it wasn't, and that's fair enough. When asked about, obviously, another performance, great performance from Bowen. I think you're hoping the players, when they come up from the Championship, they can develop and get used to the Premier League. I think near enough from the start, Jared has done well. I think he's taken it really well because he can play wide, through the middle, score goals. He's a wide player who not just puts crosses in or assists. Now the biggest thing is adding goals and assists, but he's back on the goal form, which we need. Antonio has been scoring recently. Lanzini has a few, and Jared now beginning to find a net again. So it's great we're spreading the goals around the team. And indeed, I think, to be fair, he had the 2 shots. He had, obviously the goal, which was the first one, which was very much I'd say a striker's goal, really, in that 6-yard box, nodding it in between the 2 centre backs from across. And then the second goal, which VAR gave to us. Again, Bowen was in that position again. He had the ball through where he chipped the keeper and hit the post. And also that was it. He's more central. I've been doing some stuff on heat maps. I might show you a bit later on. It's quite interesting looking at the heat maps of how some of the players are playing this year. It really puts things into perspective a little bit. In terms of Bowen for England, Moyes basically was a bit coy, obviously, as you can imagine, and just said when you look at the competition, there are probably more as well than the ones he mentioned there. Just the ones on top of my head. It's a decision for Southgate, but I think at the moment Bowen is probably closer to making people say we're going to have to look and see what he can do. Sometimes you need people who are slightly different, people who can score goals and make goals for any team. It's so important, and he's doing it at the highest level. The Premier League is as good as any league in Europe, so I think he won't be too far from England's thoughts. And indeed, I mean, that for me, that's definitely where we need to be looking in it. Southgate needs to be at least looking at him. If he's not included in the next, I think Anton threw up a chart of Premier League. Is it involvement in goals scored or something like that? And Bowen's the top. I think Antonio's third, but he's Jamaican, so doesn't count. Bowen's the top Englishman in those four. So, crazy how he needs to be. The thing is, the only trouble is, as Tom Clark mentioned on Football London, he's got to wait till April now, because we've had so many bloody internationals. If he had an international, say, this month, he'd definitely be in there. But the next one's not till April now, unfortunately. So it's not the timing hasn't been great for Bowen to hit this sort of level of form, this consistent level of form. In terms of his personality, I asked about his personality in training and things like that. He goes, first of all, I would say he's always out finishing. He's always practicing his finishing, and he's always trying different things. He's really keen to watch all of his actions. He's doing it after all the games to see how he can improve. He's a quiet lad. He's not hugely vocal, but he's very much part of the team. And I think his ability to try and improve, whether it be through watching what he's doing, he needs to do better, or whether it's on the training ground, he's full of it. He's very keen on it, and that's what we like to see in it. And I think that's probably echoes across the whole team, to be honest, to be perfectly fair. And obviously where we are now, fourth now after Boxing Day, I'm sure you would have taken that. Obviously we had a disastrous beginning to December. The end of December into January's worked out better. Obviously, we've won 4 in a row, including obviously the FA Cup. Could we be on for 5 wins in a row, 4 wins in a row in the Premier League? Who knows on Sunday? But Moyes says, you would take 3 Premier League wins in a row because that's not easy. Never thought we were slipping away, but I thought we've got a big challenge. The teams around us, the competition in the top 8 or 9 places in the Premier League is really difficult. You can't forget Wolves, Leicester, and how well Arsenal and Tottenham are doing. And there is also Man United. So if we're going to stay there, we're going to have to win games like we've done, and we've got to score a few goals. Like everyone else, we get injuries, we get COVID. So it's making things just a little bit harder as well. But I'm really pleased with how the players are doing. They are doing great. And that's what yesterday epitomised. Win ugly. Quite a few times this season we've won ugly. That Crystal Palace game when we was like 3-0 up. How the hell were we 3-0 up? We played. Palace have been playing much stronger than us. That's a mark of a good team. And arguably we should have scored 3 or 4 more yesterday, I reckon, at least. Asked about reinforcements, about scoring. He says, well, we've been trying to get someone who we think could give us competition for Mikel Antonio for 2 years now. It's certainly not an easy thing to do, buying a centre forward. The club has probably brought in more centre forwards than anyone. Many of them expensive, and it's hard to get them to work. I want to bring players in. I want to add to it, but I'm not going to do it for the sake of it. And I'm not going to because the transfer window is pushed heavily by the media. Supporters want new players, and when we get a chance, we'll do so. But I think I'd rather not waste the club's money if I don't think that there was someone out there. But I'm hoping to do business. I'd like to do it. I would have liked to do it earlier. Maybe come the end of the transfer, there might be some news. Yeah, little Easter egg there for Moyes. I don't think there's been an awful lot of transfer activity out there at all. Maybe 1 or 2 clubs who have done bits, but I'm not seeing huge moves going on at this present time. And indeed, there isn't. I'm going to probably talk about that maybe tonight in terms of a transfer roundup and go through how the other clubs, almost at the halfway stage, how they've fared in terms of the transfers. It puts things into perspective, I think, as well. And then finally, an update on Souček. We hope it is quick, and there are a lot of difficult things around at the moment. So we're hoping that Thomas is in good health. He's been a great player for us. We will miss him when we don't have him. But as I said many times, there is COVID at lots of clubs, so everyone has to deal with it. So he had COVID. Clever Russ, as Detective Russ has assumed that he did have COVID rather than he's an illness, but it was COVID. And then he was asked a question about what's the difference between this season to last season in terms of the team, in terms of how we've been playing. And he basically said, I think we're more experienced. I think we've got I think we've got a great hunger. For long parts of last season, we only started believing maybe around January, February time when we started thinking about the real chance of European football. I really think from the start of the season, we believe that we can challenge. I've given the players the challenge that I want to see them make up the 2 points that we didn't get for the Champions League last year. We were 2 points short. Can we try and make it up? But I think really behind all of that is trying to keep the consistency. And by saying that the players to try to keep us up and keep us up in and around the top teams and see where we end up at the end. But I have to say the players have done a great job. We've had a few blips of injuries that have not helped us, but even Cresswell coming back tonight made a great difference to us as well. And we're looking forward to trying to get Kurt back shortly. And then if we can add to the squad, we will try to do it as well. That's got me going. That's really got me going. That last bit, it's true. It makes perfect sense. Where we were last year, it was only around sort of this time where we were still around fourth. Yeah, I think we're in the fourth after a few games, weren't we? In the beginning of 2021, that we thought actually this isn't this is something which could happen. And now we've sort of gone into it with our expectations already, not assuming, but there's a widespread feeling that 7th, 8th should be our minimum this season if we, and so I totally get what he says. Right, let's have a look at the chat. Then we'll talk about then we'll go through some scores. What we got here? Just watching Joe. He said Bobo's still on the table. We're going to talk about that later on. We'll talk about that probably tonight, or maybe Stel's doing a show as well. I think later on. I don't know. We don't know. I don't know what's happening still at the moment. But I think he might be doing he was going to do a lunchtime show about sort of transfers and maybe a change in emphasis of the transfers, with news, obviously Cresswell back and Zuma back. Is it going to be maybe the more attacking side? Maybe we don't need defenders, or I'm sure he'll come. He's got a trailer thread which he's going to go through, so he'll be going. And then maybe in the evening I might be doing a transfer roundup like I do my scattergun. Everyone we've been linked to in the last week, obviously taking out the ones that Stel's mentioned. This is any new development. We've City Chelsea in a North London derby, a big game against Leeds is for our third place push. Third place, Adrian. I admire your optimism, my friend. Bowen could have had 4 easily. Would have liked to see Král. Why have him on loan? And why not use the loan? I totally agree. Yeah, I thought so, but you obviously had. It was clear that Moyes had a strategy. It was going to be quite an open game, so maybe having. I mean, Král would have been almost a direct replacement for Souček, really. Although Král has a little bit more in an attacking sense, I think. He's got a better touch on the ball, I think, than Souček, with what I've seen very, very briefly of him. But by putting Lanzini in, that was real intent, wasn't it? It was almost playing a 4-1-4-1, really, and giving Lanzini proper roaming of the pitch. I might show you some of the heat maps. It's quite interesting later on. How is that not a penalty? Indeed. Good afternoon, Hazard. Hope you're well. Big roll on Weeds. Any thoughts on Vlasic and Král? So I thought it was a penalty. I did as well. And I think Keith Hackett said something today about it, and ridiculous. Alfie, good afternoon to you. To top it off, Spurs got beat as well. Indeed, they get battered everywhere they go. Black Country. Hammer, I hope you're well, my friend. Bowen could have easily got 4, just like Antonio did. I would love to ask Moyes what's wrong with Martial. Temperament? I'd say temperament, to be honest, Odds. I thought we come down with the Christmas decorations. We used to. My granddad, God rest his soul. That's what he always used to say every year. Great night, 3 points in the bag plus Spurs. Indeed, to get 37 points. 1 win from safety. We are 1 win from safety, and we're not even at the end of January. That's progress. That is progress in my eyes. That's real progress. We're not scrabbling around in April, May for those points, which is different. Spurs fans moaning last night. It was funny. I was driving home laughing to myself. Just 3 points indeed. This week we are cementing that full sport because we're West Ham. We've got Bowen. Don't shit yourself about Král. His time will come. No need to rush players for the sake of it. Indeed. I mean, it's only January, Luke, isn't it, mate? Right. Let's have a look at score ratings. And as you said, I got criticised. My ratings are quite harsh, but I think I've loosened up a little bit. And if you agree, great. If you don't, let me know. Again, this is my opinion. I'm just like arseholes. We've all got one. So Fabianski. My thoughts on Fabianski. And I've written notes. I have actually written notes, unbelievably. Indeed, it is progress. 40 points by mid-January. Formidable. So Fabianski. I mean, to be honest, he didn't really have much to do in all across the whole game. I think pretty much, as I said, I think we dominated again. It's one of those 2-0s that a bit like the Leeds game. Leeds didn't really offer much, and there was one or two scares, but not. And if this was the same, to be honest, a fairer result would have been a 3 or 4-0 in my opinion. But we didn't put it in the onion bag, did we? Obviously, he did that fantastic save of Adal, whatever it was, which was fantastic. And when he's called upon, he does, he does save. And so I put him down as a boom 7. So solid 6.5. We don't do half points here. We do not do half points here. I'm just reading something. Oh, the Kidderminster game, the Kidderminster FA Cup game has been looks like it's been picked for BBC One, 5th of February at 12:30. There we go, a little bit breaking news. 8, 7, good save from Fab. 7 made that save in the post. Indeed, don't bother looking at the table. We don't do. B set distribution from MC, but yeah, it probably was. Yeah, definitely was. Slide back here. But I mean, Stu, that's a great thing. Me and Stel and Anton were saying it in the highlight show afterwards. Isn't it great that we've got 2 goalkeepers who can compete, and either or can come in and would be a number 1 in any team in the Premier League, I'd say, easily. Isn't that great? And as I said, I think before, we said Adrian and Randolph, they were competing similar levels, but these guys are another level. And either one you bring in, they're going to have a great game. And if they don't, they've got someone behind them. 7, yep, indeed, agreed. 10 as known as no, not 10. I was not 10. He did his job. Had less to do than Ariola, but then he came with that save. Indeed. What does Kidderminster hold? I don't know. We'll see. One big save. He had to do it. Exactly when he's called upon, he did it, which is mark of a good goalkeeper. Let's move on to Mr. Soufal, Vladimir Soufal. Now, again, for me, he was called upon to come in. I personally, I really wouldn't have started Cress. I thought it was a little bit of a gamble, but fair play. I thought, if he's just getting back in, I would probably have played Johnson. He was on the bench. There was obviously nothing wrong with Johnson because he was playing on the bench. So we'll see. So for me, I think he had a good game coming back in. Got forward quite a lot, every opportunity. He does what he does. You know what you're going to get with him. He's written on the, he's written on the, it's like Ronsil. It's written on the tin. So I went for a solid 7. I think a lot of the players today have had a solid. I thought it was a lot more of a competent game than it was against Leeds, collectively. So where everyone was getting 6s, playing a average game, I think everyone's was slightly up their game. So as a team, 7s were more 7s are appearing than they were, for example, on the Leeds game, which I know I was heavily criticised for. 7, 8 for me. Got that assist indeed. 7, 7. Yama 7, 9 out of 10 again. 7, 7. So everyone's on the same parts. That's what we like to see. Right, let's move on. Let's go to who's next. Issa Diop again. Comfortable. I think that's best. I think that's the best way to describe a lot of these players today. Comfortable. Again, maybe I think it was one mislaid pass he had. I remember in the second half, I think, but even that wasn't like dreadful. It was more in the centre, and he I think he looked good on the ball. Again, come forward quite a bit. Again, I've gone for another 7, and so have other people. 7 is quite a boring one. There's a lot of 7s, and I think that's fair enough. So I think it's fair enough, to be honest. I think he is Hazara when he's playing. I mean, when Zuma's back, you'll see a different player when Zuma's back, because him and Zuma. I think as a pair will be a really, and obviously Cresswell on the left and maybe Johnson or Soufal on the right. I think you'll see a different Diop, that's for sure. Diop 7, 7, 7, 7. Yeah, everyone agrees with me, so that's good. Mr. Craig Dawson, he didn't give much. He didn't give Norwich much at all. When he was called upon, would win pretty much all of his aerial duels. Had little defending to do, to be honest. He did a fantastic tackle on, I think it was Brandon Williams in the second half, which was a brilliant tackle. And again, comfortable. So I think if you give Diop 7, you got to give him 7 as well. Actually played decent. Like Diop, he seems to slice everything. 8 for Ludders, 7, 7, 8. Are you saying Zoom and Diop, not Zoom? I am. The reason being is left-sided. Diop's a left-sided defender. So I think it will be Diop. Unless we go and buy that centre back we're going to get. I don't think we all know, but who knows? But I think it will be Diop and Zuma. He made some blinding mistakes, saved him a few times. He's getting more game time. 7, 6. We'll pick Dawson. Fair enough. We'll just wait and see. 6, 7. Yeah, he made it. Yeah, it was Williams. There we go. Credit to Moyes to sign Dawson. 7. Yeah, so 7s and 6s. Similar, few 8s, Ludders and stuff, 8s. Aaron Cresswell, the Magic Man. He wears a magic hat. Great to see him back. A surprised return, a welcomed return. When I texted the boys and told them that I'd seen him on the grass, so to speak. Anton and Stell were a little bit surprised. I think we all were a little bit taken back. We missed his left-sided delivery, didn't we? And a load of sort of dangerous crosses into the box from the left-hand side, rather than the right-hand side, where it's a lot of stuff's come from, whether it was Soufal or Fredericks or Johnson when he was playing right back. A lot more. It seemed a lot evener, a lot more even left and right distributions, and so it was great to see him back again, largely untroubled. It was actually quite a good, I wouldn't have risked him, but actually it was quite a good game to get him back in and get his feet under the table again. So I mean, again, 7. I gave him a 7. What we got here? We had 8. Crest 10 for his hair gel. Good game to come back. Solid 7. Crest was brilliant. 9 from Ludders. 8. Surprisingly well, just coming back indeed. Solid 8. Fair enough. 7. 8.5, 8. So maybe I'm a little bit harsh on that one, but I just think it was great for him to come back in, up and down. They were doing that thing quite a bit on the corners, weren't they? Where we're Fornows and he was passing, and didn't quite enjoy that as much. I like the way they're trying to do something different, but anyway, apparently that's why he's been playing. He can get no hair gel. 8 for him. 8 from Glenn. 7 from Hazard as well. Right. Okay, let's go on to the next person. Where is he? Mr. Declan Rice. I think I might have downgraded him a little bit, and actually I shouldn't have. I mean, to be honest, Declan bossed the midfield, didn't he? Spread the play well. He loves a crossfield ball, and it's great to see, particularly left to right. To be honest, I'd say it was like an easy game for him. Very similar to the Leeds game. It was a very easy game for Deck. And he's level, where he's playing, he's so high that, the last few games, the opposition he hasn't had to go into another gear, really. What have I put him down for? I should have put him down. I was going to put him down for an 8. Right, okay, it's annoying. I'll put him down as 8. He's gone down as an 8. So I think it's an 8. Rice, 8, 9, 7, 9, 8. Rocking 9, 7, average game basically an 8. I mean, that's what he is, isn't it? An average game for Deck is an 8, which is phenomenal, isn't it? Corners have been shocking this season. They haven't been as good as they were, and I think part of the reason is I think they're trying to do different things. They're moving people around a little bit more. It's like, Vlasic was doing the whole blocking role, and surely that's Antonio's job. I think they're just trying to try out a few new ideas, it seems. Rice was everywhere. He really was. How good is he? How good is Declan Rice? You know what I mean? I don't think he misplaced a pass the whole game. Didn't look at his pass completion rates, but phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. Right. Lanzini will move on. A 7, high 8. Let's be fair. He bosses, mate. You're right. Unless he's got that central midfielder, like trying to think of someone. maybe the Man City centre midfield, but even if he hasn't got anyone against him, he bosses the game from central midfield. Lanzini, obviously he was playing a deeper line role. We know he likes that role as well. I thought we did well. Again, rarely gave the ball away, dominated possession. He saw a lot of the ball because he was obviously playing more defensively, but I don't think Norwich really pressured him as much. It seemed we had a lot of ball in that central midfield position. And as soon as we got into the final third, then they started to sort of. It wasn't his most. I don't think it was his most. What's the word? His most. Like it wasn't as good as. I mean, he played well. He played okay. I put him down as a 7. So as Father Snowman, Little Gem, 8, not effective. No, he's not. He's not effective in that. But then it gives you the extra attacking player potentially as well in that setup. 8, Lanzini, 8. I love the way the ball sticks to him. Solid 7, 8. That must be Declan Rice, best CM in the world. I think better than Kimmich. There's no bad game he's had this season. And even if he has a bad game, it's not even a bad game. He'll still play a 7. Annoyed with the ref for not stopping the game with collision. Fair enough. Missed a few blinders. He didn't have his shooting boots on. I think if he did a few of those on target, I would have probably given him an 8. You're totally right there, Scott. Particularly the first half. When the ball was let out, and I know he can hit a ball very cleanly, but he just wasn't doing it for him. 4 nows. Great to see him back. He had that energy. I love the energy of 4 nows. It's something we do miss when he's not playing, and to accommodate, bringing Lanzini in the deep lines to accommodate, obviously Suchek not being in, and 4 nows. I like that. He linked up well with Antonio and Bowen. So a couple of lovely touches, a couple of flick-ons, and also some really nice, hard passes. Lingard used to do it for us as well. When he signed and he started playing, he would whip balls in. So he wouldn't just pass them. He'd put some conviction into that pass. It would go straight to their feet. And Fornals was doing a lot of that yesterday, like really strong passes, like trying to cut through defenses. That was the plan, to try and pass through them, and obviously the Bowen or Antonio be running on behind. I thought he played really well. Again, a lovely little touch in the second half. Antonio, big ball across, and a little cushioned header by Fornals into the path of Bowen, which didn't quite run for him. I put him down as a 7. I thought it was a solid game. Father Snowman 7. 8, fair enough. Yeah, haven't seen much of him. I thought he played quite well. 7, 8, 8.5. Lanzini collision pressure at the game. He did, but that doesn't matter. End of the day, nothing happened. Should have given us a penalty, but he never did as well. So I think 7 again. I thought it was a solid game for him to come back. Isn't started for the last few games. So it was good to see him back, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Leeds. I imagine you're going to see a similar. Would you see a similar team, or maybe Lanzini would be out, or Fornals? One of them be dropped. I don't know how long. I think Nobes took a knock, so I don't know how long he'll be out for. But yeah, fizz the ball. That's it. Fizzing the ball. Indeed. Bowen. What can we say? The man's on. He's on apps. We know he's on fire. One of his most. I think one of his best games, particularly the second half. I thought he was deadly. Doing a lot more running into the box, scoring a lot more goals. I mean, he's now, him and Decker always at the top. Always at the top of the ratings. Hit the post, hit the crossbar in the second half. Maybe should have dinked that a little bit, but it was a good little dink. It showed confidence as well. Real goal threat every time going forward. They were obviously trying to double up on him second half, and obviously he got his second goal, which was a great goal. I put him down as a 9. Hat-trick would have been a 10. We've got a 10, 9, 10, 10, 9. We've got a 12, impressive. We've got a 9, a 9, a 10, a 10. If he'd scored that hat-trick, if he'd scored that dink, then it would have been a 10 for me. Because there was just a little, because, he was great. It was phenomenal. But that would have just icing on the cake. That little bit of gloss at the end would have been fantastic. Hi, Daniel. He's on fire indeed. 9. Could have had a well-deserved hat-trick. Man of the match. Yeah, I think Bowen was man of the match. I think you're totally right, man. Who else we got? I didn't bother doing the subs this time. So we got Vlasic. Not his best game. He was, as I said, he got absolutely RKO'd by Tim Krul in the first half. It should have been a penalty. Tried hard. His work rate is there. Just wasn't running for him yesterday, was it? It didn't seem, but he tracked back a lot. Did a lot of track backing. Not as impressive as he played against Leeds, but looked dangerous when he did have the ball to run. Didn't have as much ball as he did against Leeds. He could have got one or maybe two penalties, maybe one each half. To be fair, the second one I think was in the second. I think it was too honest. I think he was too honest and stayed on his feet. I think he'd gone down straight away. I think he would have got a penalty. But at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about that. Bowen'S on fire is very kind to Danielle, indeed. Russ, he had a hat trick. He certainly did. He should have had 4, indeed. Vlasic, I gave a 6 because it just wasn't up to his level. He set a bar the last few games. And as I said on Claret and Booze, every time I've seen Vlasic play, the first thing I say is that's his best game he's played for us. This one wasn't. There was a little dip. And I think it was mainly because he didn't get as much ball as he did before. Maybe it's because you haven't got, maybe because you've got another attacking midfielder, so to speak, in Lanzini there, that maybe the ball was distributed a bit more around. Whereas if you've got Souček and Rice in the middle, then they tend to look out to the wings to play the game. I don't know. Could be 7.5, 7, 6. Lower his high scores. Come you irons. 7, 7, 7, 6, 7. 7, along with Vlasic was our top player. I was like, fair enough. Interesting, funny. People did different. I mean, I didn't think he was, but you did, and so it's great to see. Your scoring is bad. I give a 5. I give me a 5. Unbelievable. I've been pretty much on par with you, Father Snowman. So there you go. And it's only 1 out. It's not like I'm totally different. Anyway, Mikel Antonio. To be honest, I think Grant Hanley did a job on him. I think he was fat. I think Grant Hanley for Norwich was really strong with Antonio, to be honest. I thought he did very, very well against him. And I mean, I'd be disappointed, obviously missing the open goal at the end when he managed to fire it over the bar from about a yard. But again, a solid performance. I mean, I thought he was quite strong. Not as physically dominating as he was against Leeds, but he still held the ball up well. And he frustrates me at times because I think he could have easily got 1 or 2 last night, but he didn't. Maybe he's not a striker. He's not a striker, as we've been told. So I put him down as a 7. We've got a 7, 7, 6, 7, 8, a 5. 5, fair enough. Shows up once in a while, but just not doing it last. Yeah, fair enough, man. 6, 6. Give you an 8 for your roving reporting. Thank you, David. I do try. I had my phone. I was like 2 and Russ. It was everyone. Yeah, 7. Fair enough. Yeah, 7, 7, 8, 6, 7. So we're in the same. Obviously, we had Masuaku came on. Didn't bother giving him a score. Couldn't bothered. He provided the assist. So, he could give him a 6. And obviously, Yama came on with a minute to go. Another 10 out of 10 performance from Yarmolenko. 7.5, 7.5. Yeah, 7, 7. So, yeah, I mean, we're pretty similar. As I said, we've got the in terms of what's coming out the rest of today. I think we've got. I think Stell's doing a show this afternoon, maybe after work, sort of 5, 6 o'clock-ish. And then I'm probably back for an evening show, doing a transfer news roundup based on. I listen to what Stell talks about. If Stell does all the transfer, then I won't do one. But I could be back later this evening. I was going to show you some stuff around the about the heat maps. So it's quite interesting. Now I've been working a little bit on the old heat maps, and I thought you might find some of this interesting. Let's go full whack. So this is Lanzini's heat map of the season so far. Something Anton mentioned yesterday. He's literally everywhere at the moment, and this heat map shows that. There's not that many red spots. Red spots is where you're consistently at there, and so. Or you're appearing all the time. So the fact is, because it's so distributed, it's true. He's literally everywhere at the moment. And you compare that to someone like Bowen. Look at Bowen's heat map. obviously he's a right winger, so up and down, you could imagine. Nice to see there's a nice bit around these sort of more obviously we're attacking left to right, so you guys know. So it's nice to see, compared to someone like Lanzini, more across the board, not so much in the box but around the box. I think Bowen I think it's quite interesting. I might do a bit more about this actually. Who else we got on here? Fornals, again, more left-sided. So, similar to Bowen, where Bowen tends to be on the right-hand side. Fornals is on the left side. A little bit more drifting in, a little bit less constricted on the left-hand side. But I think it's just interesting to see, isn't it? I agree, Pete. Bench was obviously full of under 23s last season, so today rather. So yesterday, so I think there's it's a few injuries and the squad depth doesn't look as strong as it did. But with Cresswell back, with Zuma, hopefully back for Man United, it might start looking a bit more rosier again, and maybe one or two in. Moyes said, towards the end, you might see some people come in, so we'll see. So I mean, I thought it was quite. Where else we got it? I mean, Declan Rice. I mean, look, this epitomises Declan Rice. He is the complete midfielder. He's equal spots in the defensive side and the attacking side, as you would imagine. It's yeah. I mean, he's an absolute beast this season, isn't he? Who else we got? Souček again. Whereas Rice is very much he sticks to defense or attack. And it's quite interesting. Where we've got here, Souček very much our box to box. He's got a hot spot in his goal, and he's got a hot spot in the opposition's goal. So it just shows you he is, that's what you miss when you go across and you see he's not playing, for example. Very much heavily in that central midfield position, but attacking and defense equally strong. What else we got? Noble. Where's Noble? Bless you. I don't want to got Noble. There's Yarmers. Someone asked they would see Yarmolenko's heat map. There we go. I've done Yarmolenko's heat map. There we go. Yeah. For some reason, he's done a lot in defending corner in the left-hand side. I thought it's quite funny. Have we got Antonio's? Now, this is interesting. Some people asked for that one. What we got here? Antonio, Antonio heat map. This is Antonio's heat map, which I think is really interesting because you look at it and he's a striker and he's our forward. And one of the most frustrating things about Michail Antonio is he doesn't stay in the middle, and this shows it. This shows how more left, right. He can go on the left, he can go on the right, he stays in the middle. He's got a hot spot in the middle, so that's great. But he's got a hot spot the left hand side about 25 yards into the into the opposition box. He's got a big hot spot on the right hand side. He does that quite a lot. He pulls off, particularly on corners. If it's defending, he'll come out and it will pull out to the right hand side, and an attack will usually start from him from the right. I just thought it's quite interesting. We've got a few more. Which we might play, which might show you later. Maybe we'll do a proper thing about it. Particularly, I might do some more stuff about this Antonio heat map later on, because I've done a few heat maps with some people we're linked with in terms of forward players, and again, there's one who we're linked with who has a very similar heat map to him. So that's one of the big frustrations about Antonio, as he drifts out. So would that be the same? We're gonna have same frustrations there. Secondly, with another guy we're linked to, another striker, very different, maybe a more traditional striker heat map. So maybe he might be the best one as a real alternative to Antonio. Just another thing to throw in. That's what we like to do here. And I do have one of Fabianski and Areola, which is quite interesting. And where we talk about Areola always being, the heat map doesn't suggest he's more, out of his box, so to speak. But yeah, anyways, Yarmouth is all on the touchline. Kralls would just be a big dot where the stand is. So we can maybe do something more about that later on. Shame we weren't able to get. I totally agree. That is impressive. It is impressive, but frustrating at the same time, isn't it? The fact that you want to see, Antonio like literally in the box. He's our striker, but as you said, you're totally right. Not many strikers do. It's not like it's with Cottee, Goldbock. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're totally right, my friend. Proves how much of a workhorse he is. Not forgetting that both of the goals come from Antonio wide. Yeah, fair play. Very true. Very true. Right, everyone. I'm going to have to dash, unfortunately. Keep an eye out. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you may have any time we put new content on. As I said, Stell will be maybe doing a show later on this afternoon. I may pop on and do one in the evening, looking through some of the transfers stories we've got coming up. A lot have come out in the last few days. So and some developments today. I mean, you talk about Barbosa and people like that's still very much on the table apparently, according to Darnesh from Sky Sports. So we'll see what happens with that one. But anyway, I hope you have a great rest of the day. If you're new around here, as I said, think about subscribing. It all helps the channel. Liking, positive comments after the videos are lovely. Thank you very much. Hitting the bell notifications so you know when we put new stuff up, and also maybe consider becoming a channel member. We've got over 50 on the channel so far. 2 tiers. Hit the join button, have a look, and we'd like to thank every one of them personally at the end of my show. So take care, everyone. Stay safe, wash those hands, come on you irons, and almost 40 points.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of